Hello, everyone. This is Larry Rybacki, president of Sigma, doing a Larry at Large podcast here today. We have a mystery guest that was is a new employee for us. It's actually an old employee that was with us for 17 years, and then took a little sabbatical, and has now come back after 2 years away, and came back in a very prominent role. And I just want to say that. This mystery guest went to work for a distribution company, Core in Maine, in the water industry, and out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And during his tenure, while he was with Core in Maine, the stock went from 61 and a half down to 42, almost 30% down. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, Sigma had the two best years we ever had in our lives. So the substitution principle, if you want to dot the I's and cross the T's, you can guess what happened. But anyway, I'm here with the Cincinnati Flash, Joe Webb, who is our national sales manager and has been with us for a long time. And it made me sick to my stomach to be with Joe at WASDA because it was a love fest. Joe, welcome back. We love you. I mean, I was hoping that he'd get his chops busted a little bit, but instead it was a complete love fest. So welcome back, Joe. Nice to have you, actually, and I got to tell you, the employees at Sigma are thrilled to have you back.
Thank you, Larry. It's great to be back, and I appreciate the warm welcome. Addition by subtraction, I think, is what they call it.
That's right, addition by subtraction. Let's give for those who don't even know, even some of our people don't know, a little background into your family before we get started in Sigma and the water industry and so forth. A little background into Joe Webb, you, Annie, and the kids and your where you grew up and where you went to school and so forth. Well, give a little background of the Joe Webb story.
Sure. I was raised and brought up in Cincinnati, Ohio, as was my wife, and graduated from the great Ohio University in 2005, at which point I moved to Chicago and started working for Sigma. With the addition of the Chicago warehouse was the start of my career in 2005, I think it was May of '05. Annie came up to Chicago with me and we lived up there, started our family up there. End of 2012, ended up moving back to Cincinnati, all the while staying with Sigma, as you know, and went from a salesman to a national product manager, then to a regional manager, and then eventually in 2017 moved up to the national sales manager, which I was, through 2022. Got 4 children, one of which Annie and I had in Chicago. We moved back and had another 3 children, 3 boys, Ben, Sam, and Will, 13, 11, and 9, and then Cecilia, or she goes by Cece, and she is 6 years old. So 3 brothers and a little princess.
How nice is that? How nice.
Yes.
And you're proud, not only are you a proud father of the 4 kids, but you're also a proud coach. Didn't the 2 boys just had quite an experience, did they not, on the football field?
They did, and that's what you can see over my shoulder here. That's the 5th grade Greater Cincinnati Youth Football League, GCYL, championship that we played at a big high school, St. Xavier. And so I coached that team, and I got a Gatorade shower at the end, and it was pretty fantastic. Then my 4th grader, William, who goes by Willie, he also won that same day in the 4th grade championship, but I got to be a spectator for that one, which was pretty neat.
Oh, a proud day in the Webb family, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was fun.
Well, let's look. You had a lot of success in your first go-around with Sigma, no question about it. You talked about the jobs you had and how we moved up the chain. But let's go back to start from your career. I put you in a pretty intense interview. You had to, how long was the interview, and what were some of the questions that you answered so well to get the job?
While at Ohio University, and I was starting out my senior year, I believe, and I think it was October of '04. I showed up in a suit and a binder and the whole deal, and I had done my research on sigmaco.com and figured out who you guys were and knew absolutely nothing. But I did have some questions prepared. But you upon meeting you, sat me down and said, "Bro, I got three questions for you." And I think it lasted all of 30 seconds. And the first question, which I'm not sure is okay for TV here, but basically was, "Hey, do you suffer from a condition that is illegal?" And I'm filling in a word here. So I clearly said no, I don't suffer from that condition. And he said, "Okay, great." And then the second question was, "Do you or any of your family members belong to Al Qaeda?" And I said, "No, not that I know of." And he said, "Bro, 2 for 2, doing pretty good. Third, last, most important question, Sox or Yanks?" And I knew you were from Boston, and I didn't really have a dog in the fight, but being from Cincinnati, and I said, "Sure, Sox, 100%." And he said, "Bro, the job's yours."
Those are three tough questions. And you answered.
Those are tough questions. Exactly. It was a pressure cooker, but somehow I passed.
Somehow you passed, and you've lasted a long time. During your time at Sigma, your first go round, and with all the jobs you've had, you became obviously a leader. You managed a lot of people, and you're doing it again. We brought you back because you're a good chief. We like you as a chief. You're a good leader, and you inspire folks to do a good job, to do good work. Now, when you became a territory salesperson for Core & Main in that greater Cincinnati area, why don't you explain what your job responsibilities were and all the differences between being a distributor salesperson and what the difference between being a manufacturer salesperson and the difference between the two jobs that you had?
I think, and I appreciate the compliment regarding leadership. I think what made me a decent leader at Sigma was learning what it took, right? In 17 and a half years of being there, I worked a lot of different positions, met a lot of different people, and was involved in a lot of different situations. So as a leader and as a manager, I was exposed to quite a few of those, and I knew what it took to succeed, and I knew what it took to get others to succeed. When I became an OSR for Core & Main for the nearly 2 years I was there, a lot of those situations were new to me, right? Dealing directly with the contractor and guys that weren't necessarily so focused on the relationship per se. They were more focused on, do you have it? It was much more transactional, fast paced, sense of urgency. Every order was kind of that knife fight, so to speak. You were fighting for every order. Whereas at Sigma, make no mistake, there's still high pressure situations, but the day-to-day business is much more revolved around stock and inventory orders versus a job order every day. And so I felt as an OSR, the closer you got to the end, or to the people installing the material, the sense of urgency increased. And that phone would start at 6 a.m. and sometimes wouldn't stop until 7 or 8 p.m. And it was always interesting to me as well. On the manufacturing side, it always baffled me that the distributors weren't better prepared. The contractor, XYZ contractor, had a job coming up, and why are you calling us the day before and saying they need, a half truckload of 8-inch material? Well, working 2 years as a OSR, I quickly realized the contractor's not prepared all the time. Despite their best efforts, a lot of times it's a permitting issue. They want to go forward, but the owner's not allowing them to. And then boom, on the flip of a switch or drop of a dime, they say, "Hey, we got to start this thing tomorrow. We got 90 days to install this, or else we're going to get billed extra. Got to get the material." And so their emergency quickly became the distributor's emergency, which then becomes the manufacturer's emergency. So getting to see all sides of it was extremely educational, and hopefully will prove productive for me coming back to Sigma.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the water industry. And obviously, you've been in it your whole career, your family. Your dad was a doctor, correct? And
yep, family pediatrician.
Yeah, a pediatrician. And but you started obviously in our industry. And give me some thoughts on the water industry and how some takeaways from what you think of the water and sewer industry.
Sure, it's an industry that I'm proud to be a part of. and it's an industry that I would love my three knuckleheads and Cecilia to be a part of. It's not going anywhere, right? And that's unlike the tech business or medical device business where there's a flashy new mousetrap, so to speak, every week or year. Around our business, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same products and has been for a number of years, as you know. So it really comes down to what's the type of service you offer and what are the relationships that you have. I mean, it's not rocket science, which is why I've been able to succeed. But at the same time, picking up where I left off, nearly 2 years later, a lot of the same issues still exist. Fortunately for me, a lot of the same people that I knew are still in the business and still are just like you and I, Larry. They're just trying to do the right thing and have a little fun along the way and make it better than it was when they found it. And I think it's a great business. Unfortunately, it's not an industry you hear a whole lot about, especially in the universities. They don't, at least at Ohio University, they didn't have a textbook on how to sell a 6-inch 90. But that being said, I think that's a growing importance for this business. We got to get youth coming into the business. And that's not just true for the waterworks. I think that's true for many industries in general. Good help is hard to find. And I would like to be somebody who's trumpeting that to the younger folks and trying to get more people in. I know throughout my time at Sigma, I was big on trying to get a deeper bench, and I know many other companies are doing the same thing, and it's ever more important right now.
What's your take on what's going to happen in the foreseeable future and how things look for you on a go forward basis?
Like I said, excited to be back to part of my second family here, and excited to be back into a leadership position. I'm extremely encouraged at what Sigma's done in the 2 years that I've been gone. It's very impressive. And I think in 2025, I think the political climate is set for pro-business and a lot of growth. I think we're in a great position, given our product range and the relationships that we have and deals in place. I think we're set to have a strong 2025 and beyond. It's fun being part of the executive management team again with all the talent and experience on that team, just to be a small part of it. I think I learn a lot more than I teach, for sure. And that's exciting for me to be a part of. And the sky's the limit for where we're going with this thing. But I think OEM throughout Sigma has a strong future as well. I think there's ample opportunities on multiple fronts.
Take a couple seconds to talk about Raven. You actually have a manufacturing facility right in your home state of Ohio.
Yep.
One of what do we have? 5 now? 5?
I believe it's 5 with the addition of Cream Ridge, right?
Right. Well, what do you foresee for Raven?
That's fun. I liken that to the Piper strain of whatever it was 25, 30 years ago. I think it's going to continue to grow for us. I think we're just scratching the surface there. So to have multiple manufacturing points throughout the country to allow us to ship within the region that those products are being made, I think gives us a distinct advantage. And then offering it to our extended product line, there's no reason to cut multiple POs when you can just cut one and get multiple products.
Well, listen, first go around was 17 years. I believe in the law of averages. Nothing good happened in those 17 years. And then we had good 2 years, and now we got you back. So I'm hoping at the law of averages that Joe Webb will do something good on the next part of his career. In all seriousness, love having you back. Everybody's thrilled. Last thing I want to say to you, welcome home.